guys, welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. This review is for the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 reunion part 1. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. So much went down in this reunion and there's a lot to talk about, so let's just get right into this review. So at the very beginning of this reunion, they start off talking about Sheree and Martel's relationship, and they start showing these really messy clips of Kenya going off about Martel DMing her before he got with Sheree, basically trying to say that Martel wanted her first. And although I do think that it was really messy of Kenya to bring up the DM to Sheree at that party, I do understand that this is a reality show and they need some type of drama, and that's the reason why Kenya did it. But I don't feel like she should have done it because I didn't think that it was necessary, because Martel was trying to get with her before he got with Sheree. But at the same time, I thought it was kind of stupid for Sheree to say that if Kenya was really trying to look out for her, she would have told her about the DM before her and Martel started talking. And I didn't understand that, because what relevancy would the DM have to Sheree if she hasn't even met Martel yet? So it just didn't make any sense that she said that. Now, they ended up talking about Sheree shading Kenya for being single, because Kenya did say when she had that back and forth with Martel and Sheree that she felt uncomfortable because she didn't have a man with her to have her back the way that Sheree had Martel there to have her back. And that's when Sheree ended up shading her for being single. But I don't understand why Sheree is shading Kenya for being single, because Sheree is constantly single too, because she's always getting into these bad relationships with these men because she keeps choosing wrong. She keeps choosing the same type of guy but thinking that he's going to be different with her when he was disrespectful and cheating on other women that he was in a relationship with. And so I just don't understand why she keeps shading Kenya for not having a man. She just gives me this vibe that her mindset is having a little piece of man is better than not having a man at all. And I just don't like that mindset. And Kenya said something that I agree with during this reunion, and she said that she would rather be single than be with a man who has the reputation that Martel has. And I agree with that 110%. And the crazy thing about it is that she was shading Kenya for being single, but now she's single again too, because she did reveal that her and Martel are not together anymore. She said that things ended because she felt like she was being sucked into all the drama that he has going on in his life. Allegedly, Martel threatened to put out revenge porn on his ex, and I feel like that's probably why Sheree decided that it was a good idea to break things off, because it's not a good look for her to be in a relationship with a man who threatened to put out revenge porn on somebody. So I feel like that's probably the reason why she left him. And listen, kudos to her for getting out of the relationship, but honestly, she should have never been in a relationship with Martel anyway. Like, he's literally not a prize. I don't know why she was bragging about him and defending him the entire season. The topic of Martel not paying Sheree's birthday dinner bill ends up coming up in conversation during the reunion, and Andy kind of starts a little bit of trouble because he ends up saying that Sheree has a bad relationship with paying bills, and some of the ladies on the stage kind of giggled about that and were shocked that Andy ended up saying that. And this obviously embarrassed Sheree to the point where she started coming for Kandi, because Kandi has been sued before in the past, I think, for not paying somebody, or somebody said she didn't pay them and the situation ended up getting handled. But Sheree ended up taking a bunch of shots at Kandi, and so the two of them ended up having a really heated back and forth. During this heated back and forth between Kandi and Sheree gets really pissed off at the fact that Kandi had a lot of criticism for She by Sheree throughout this season, which she absolutely did. She criticized it a lot. And the reason why Sheree says that she's upset about that is because Kandi has a really large following, and if people see that she's criticizing her business, they'll take what Kandi says and run with it. And I can kind of understand where Sheree's coming from with that. But at the end of the day, Sheree talks about Kandi's businesses too, because even when Kandi didn't say anything about She by Sheree was constantly talking about Kandi's businesses and how there's constantly shootings there, how the food's not that good, how she didn't get good ratings. And so I don't understand why she is so upset when somebody claps back at her. Sheree was obviously extremely pissed off at Kandi's criticism of She by Sheree, because Kandi did say that a lot of the items that were on Sheree's She by Sheree runway were not on the website, and Sheree acted like that wasn't a big deal when it kind of is, because if you're going to do a runway show, people are going to want to purchase some of the items that they saw on the runway, and if they go to your website and they're not there, that's definitely bad for business. But Sheree gets so upset about this that she ends up pulling out this She News newspaper that she made up herself, where she put in a bunch of, bad reviews for Kandi's businesses in there. And I just felt like Sheree was doing a bit too much. Like, I don't understand why Kandi criticizing her business is that big of a deal to her, because at the end of the day, if Kandi doesn't like it, somebody else might like it. And so I just don't understand why she went as far as to make this newspaper about Kandi. Then on top of that, she was making false equivalencies, because she was trying to say that Kandi is making fun of her She by Sheree business when her tag store sells cheap clothes. But it's weird to me because Kandi's store is kind of like a Rainbows, a Dots, a Wet Seal, stores like that where they have really cheap clothing, but it's kind of nice and you like to go in there and purchase some items every now and again. And so I just don't understand why she was comparing that to She by Sheree. Because if She by Sheree is supposed to have original fashions, then why is she comparing that to Kandi's store? Kandi's not a fashion designer. She just sells clothes in a clothing store. Andy ends up asking Kenya if she's finally divorced yet, and she says that she's not divorced and that Mark is actually taking her to court. It's crazy to me that Mark and Kenya have been going through this divorce longer than they were even married, but she claims that he's taking her to court because he's saying that she's not letting him see their daughter, and then he's trying to use the fact that when the ladies went on vacation this season and Kenya had Brooklyn with her, Marlo was kicking and banging on the hotel room door with Brooklyn in the bedroom, and he's trying to say that she put their daughter in harm's way. So Kenya ends up pulling out a piece of paper and says that there's a subpoena for Marlo to come to court now. And when Andy ends up reading the paper, it wasn't fully filled in and Marlo's name wasn't even on it. So he's not buying it that Marlo has to go to court. And listen, I don't care if Marlo has to go to court or not. I do think that she was wrong for banging on the hotel room door knowing that Kenya's daughter was there. But at the same time, I was confused as to why Kenya is even still trying to be even more connected to this man than she is now. Because throughout the season, she was saying that she wanted to have another baby with Mark. And I just don't understand why she would want to bring another child into this toxic situation. Now, Marlo did try to apologize to Kenya for putting her child in harm's way by banging and kicking on the hotel room door. But Kenya was not buying it, and she actually revealed that Mark told her that Marlo reached out to him to try to get dirt on her. And she says that the reason why she knows it's true is because she was able to get a hold of his phone records, and Marlo's number was listed on there a few times. So if that's true, that's crazy that Marlo would go that far. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. Mark could be lying. But if it is true, Marlo is extremely messy. And honestly, it's not far-fetched to believe because during this reunion, she actually reveals that she has been speaking to Ralph too. Andy definitely stirred up some drama between Kandi and Drew during this reunion because despite all the nice things that Drew said about filming Kandi and Todd's movie, Andy decided to show the clip where Drew said that she would only be doing Lifetime and above from now on. And Kandi did take that as shady coming from Drew, but I didn't find it shady at all. At the end of the day, Drew is an actress. Is she the best actress in the world? No, but is she a good actress? Yes, she is, and she's a verifiable actress. So I don't understand why it's wrong for her to want better for herself. She did this movie to me as a favor to Kandi and Todd because Todd really wanted her to be in the movie, and she did it. She did what she was supposed to do. I don't think that it's wrong for her to want to move on and move forward. Now, Kandi and Drew end up getting into a heated back and forth when Andy ends up bringing up this kiss between Drew and LaToya. And honestly, I don't know why this kiss keeps coming up. It happened 2 years ago. It wasn't even relevant 2 years ago when it happened. So why is it relevant 2 years later? And then on top of that, in one of the episodes this season when Drew was talking about this with Ralph, he said he didn't care about it and he doesn't think it's a big deal. So he doesn't understand why the ladies are making it a bigger deal than what it needs to be. So I don't know why Kandi won't let it go. I can completely understand that she doesn't want to be seen as a liar because that's what Drew is trying to say that she is. But at the end of the day, it's not Kandi or any of the other ladies' business if Drew made out with LaToya. It's not that big of a deal. Now, I do understand where people are coming from when they say that Drew should just own up to it because at the end of the day, by her lying about not making out with LaToya, it's making her look like she's the biggest liar on the show. But at the end of the day, maybe she's ashamed of kissing LaToya. Maybe she didn't want people to know she kissed her because she's ashamed of it. Maybe she felt like she was comfortable enough to go on a trip with her girls and kiss somebody at the party, and she didn't think that it was going to get out to everybody. And the ladies ended up telling everybody about the situation. Maybe she just didn't want it out there. I don't know. I just don't think it's a big deal because it's none of anybody's business. And once her husband says he doesn't care about it, I don't understand why anybody else does. Now, I am side-eyeing the hell out of Kandi after this back and forth between Drew and Kandi because they were arguing about this stupid kiss between Drew and LaToya, and Kandi sat there and said that because Drew was lying about kissing LaToya, even though she knows damn well she kissed her, she has to look back at the situation between Drew and Ralph because now she feels like Drew is probably the one that is gaslighting Ralph. And that was crazy to me that she said that, because just because Drew is lying about something stupid like this kiss between her and LaToya doesn't mean that she's gaslighting her husband, and doesn't mean that she's the problem in the marriage. I'm not saying Drew is innocent in their marriage because we don't know what happens when the cameras go off, but from what we were able to see, it seems like Ralph is the problem. We've seen Ralph gaslight Drew. We've seen him invalidate her feelings. We've seen him stick up for other people over her. We've seen him put her down. And allegedly, he's been cheating on her throughout their marriage. And we were able to see some signs of that throughout the show. So it's crazy to me that Kandi said that. And then she said it on this huge platform like Bravo, where a bunch of people are watching this. And obviously, Ralph is trying to use anything he can against Drew in this divorce. And she's helping him by making that comment. Monyetta ends up getting asked why she said that Marlo, Sheree, Sonya, and Courtney were all in a collusion together, and she said that the reason why she felt that way is because it seemed like they were in an alliance together and that they were constantly stirring up drama between the other group of ladies to see their friendships fall apart. And I believe her, and I agree with that, because that's what I was able to see this season. It looked like they were in an alliance, and it looked like they were trying to stir up drama between the other group of ladies so that they can sit back and laugh. Meanwhile, their friend group stays completely intact. They denied this, obviously, but I'm agreeing with Monyetta on this particular situation. Now, during the reunion, there were a couple of arguments that I don't think are really worth getting too deep into, and that was the one between Monyetta and Sheree. They got into a back and forth about Sheree defending Marlo when Marlo tried to slam the door in Monyetta's face, and then also Sonya and Kandi got into a little bit of a back and forth because Kandi felt like Sonya didn't have her back when Sheree and Courtney were talking bad about her. Sonya kind of just sat there and giggled. So those are two of the arguments that went down at the reunion that I'm not going to get deep into. Andy ended up bringing out what was said in Monyetta's interview, and basically what was said was that Monyetta was on the set of Kandi and Todd's movie, and Drew ended up coming up to her telling her if things didn't work out between her and Ralph, that she was going to go mess with her crush. And when Monyetta asked Drew who her crush was, she said it was Ty Young. Now, when she said this, Drew said that she was only joking because she was on the set of a lesbian movie, and that's the reason why she said that. But honestly, I don't feel like Monyetta is Drew's friend. I don't feel like a lot of the ladies are Drew's friend, because what was the point of Monyetta saying that during that interview? I don't feel like that was something that she had to reveal, and she did it anyway. So honestly, Drew needs to rethink all her friendships after this reunion is over. Courtney ends up jumping into this conversation saying that the reason why Drew is running around here saying that Ralph was cheating on her because it's actually her that's been cheating on Ralph. And that's crazy to me that she said that, because how does she know? And that's what really pissed off Drew, because she's like, why is this woman acting like she knows the ins and outs of my marriage when she just started coming around and she just met Ralph recently? So how does she know all this information? Drew feels like Ralph is coaching Courtney to try to make her look bad. And I feel like that's true. I feel like Ralph probably is coaching Courtney. He's feeding her all this information and she's taking it all in, and she's coming out on the stage and she's saying all this stuff to try to make Drew look bad. And honestly, it's working, because ain't nobody coming to Drew's defense. They're sitting there letting Courtney say this stuff and nobody's saying anything. At the very end of this reunion, Drew ends up flipping out on Courtney, because not only is Courtney acting like she knows the ins and outs of Drew's marriage to Ralph, but last week's episode, she also brought in Drew's son, saying that the reason why Drew wanted Ralph to adopt her son was because she wanted to lay up in the bed with Ty Young while Ralph paid all the bills, and that's the reason why she wanted him to adopt her son. And that really pissed off Drew, and so she started flipping out, telling Courtney not to mention her son anymore. And Courtney tried to lie and say that she didn't mention her son, but she did mention her son. Did she say anything bad about Drew's son? No, but trying to put it in the air that she tried to get him to adopt her son so she can collect money from him is wrong, because she doesn't know that information. And I don't understand why Courtney, who just met Ralph, is riding so hard for him. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, what is the real relationship between Ralph and Courtney? So those are my thoughts on part 1 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 reunion. Let me know what you guys thought about this reunion down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.